Today we're going to look at the top 5 ways to use hashtags for business and the top 5 hashtag mistakes to avoid right inside the video. Hey guys, it's Chia from Brand24 and today we are looking at hashtags. One of you recently asked if we could go over a few examples of hashtags, including some do's and don'ts on how to use them. So that is exactly what we are going to look at today. So we will go over the top 5 ways to use hashtags for business, as well as the top 5 hashtag mistakes to avoid making. And I will show you some examples of all of this inside the video. There are just a few different ways that you can make hashtags a part of your social media strategy for your business. And the reason why you want to do this is because hashtags can help you just increase the reach of your campaign, build brand awareness, and gain more followers who can become your potential customers. So you definitely want to make sure that you include hashtags in your digital marketing strategy, and there are just a few different ways that you can do this. If you are already familiar with some of this, feel free to jump ahead to the next chapter, and you'll find timestamps for each chapter in the video description box down below. So in order to help a greater audience discover your brand, you can use some popular pre-existing hashtags that are relevant to your content. So you can find some of these just by running a quick search on the individual platforms that you're using, or if you want to get really specific, you can also use a third-party app like Brand24 to monitor relevant industry keywords and get a list of the top hashtags that are used in your industry. Another way to help more people find your content is to throw some related trending hashtags in the mix. So Instagram used to show related hashtags along a bar on the hashtag page, but that was removed a while ago. Now we have to use some other creative methods to find related trending hashtags. You can use apps like RightTag or Hashtagify to just quickly look up some trending hashtags, or you can use a much more specific method, that the one that we mentioned earlier. And instead of monitoring industry keywords, you can monitor relevant hashtags to find the top trending hashtags that are used together with them. One more way to identify potential hashtags is by monitoring your competitors. Since you're trying to reach the same essential audience, it's a really good idea to keep an eye on the hashtag strategies that are working or not working for them, and learn how to apply all of this in the way that you use hashtags for yourself. And in order to help build brand awareness, it's always a good idea to create your own branded hashtag. These are usually really simple and just the name of your company will do. So while this won't help you gain many followers or increase your reach, it will help your audience begin to associate your best content with your brand. Finally, it's a good idea to create individual hashtags for each campaign. So this will help you track and measure your results and just determine which campaign brought you more reach, more mentions, and more PR in general. It's best to keep these types of hashtags simple without going too hard on the branding so that more people will be willing to use them. So these are just a few ways to incorporate hashtags in your digital strategies. There are definitely other ways, but these are the basics. In addition to this, it's also important to know what you need to avoid when it comes to using hashtags. So one of the biggest hashtag mistakes that have been made is just failing to simply research a hashtag before using it. Like even really big brands like DiGiorno and Dove have made this mistake, and they have had to face a lot of public backlash because of this, making this something that we can all learn from. Using too many hashtags is also something that I do not recommend. This is because it can just look spammy to your audience, and in some cases, depending on the platform, the algorithm will even classify your content as spam due to hashtag overkill. So Twitter recommends that you use about 2 hashtags per tweet, while most people recommend 5 to 10 hashtags for Instagram and just 1 or 2 hashtags for Facebook. So focusing on hashtags over your caption or your post is another thing that you want to avoid. Now, hashtags are a tool for classification and discovery. They're not part of your content. For example, even on visual platforms like Instagram, you want to have a really good caption to help draw people in and expand on the story that your image or video is telling. Hashtags can sometimes be distracting and get in the way of that. So one way to avoid this is by making your hashtags your first comment under your post so that your audience doesn't get distracted by it. A sign that your campaign is going really well is when your audience starts to use your hashtag with their own user-generated content. Failing to monitor this means that you could miss out on key opportunities to interact and connect with your audience. Some brands even feature really good UGC, that's user-generated content, on their profiles, which helps them build relationships with their followers. And it also means just more content for them. Finally, you also want to avoid using popular hashtags that are too general. For example, if you're a food blogger, then a hashtag like hashtag food won't necessarily help you gain too much reach because there are just too many people using it. This means that the algorithm will not favor your post for that hashtag unless you manage to get a huge amount of engagement shortly after posting. It's much better to use a combination of moderately popular hashtags that are relevant, including a branded hashtag, a campaign-specific hashtag, and a community-based or topical hashtag. All right, that's it for today. I hope this was helpful and that I helped answer your question about hashtags. If I missed something, if I left anything out, or if you have any other questions, just let me know in the comment section below. All right, thanks guys. Have a good one, and I will see you next time. Bye. Eye contact? Really? Mm-hmm. It's gonna scare people. It's like backwards. And the top 5 No, I messed up. Mm-hmm. I was on a roll too. Mm-hmm. We got it? Aw, man. You're always trying to trick me.